Hello and welcome back to the Lore Story, where we talk about the characters and the lore behind them from some of the most popular games. I'm Jonathan Kreitch, and today we'll be looking at Queen Marika the Eternal from the 2022 game Elden Ring. It should go without saying that there will be spoilers ahead, so if you want to figure out the lore for yourself, especially for this character, consider playing through the game first and coming back to hear my opinions on the matter. This video will also have a lot of speculation and unproven theories, so take the events and the reasonings with a grain of salt. Queen Marika the Eternal, the first god of her time. But before her ascent to godhood, she came from outside the lands between. Sources vary, but a generally agreed upon homeland is the land of the Numens, as stated in her hammer's description. Stone hammer made in the lands of the Numen, outside the lands between. After arriving in the lands between, she quickly rose to power, gaining the attention of the Greater Will. She became a vessel for the Greater Will, exerting its will over the lands between as its new ruler. When becoming the vessel for the Greater Will, she also became the vessel for the Elden Ring, a great source of power given to her by the Greater Will. It is from this Elden Ring that, not only the game gets its name, but the lands between gets its own rules of nature. The laws governing the lands are one and the same as the individual governing it. After her ascent to godhood, Queen Marika took Hoare Lu, the chieftain of the Badlands, as her consort. He took upon his back the beast Serash, who seemingly ridded him of his violent tendencies, and he gained a new name, Godfrey, the first Elden Lord. Together with her lord, Queen Marika bore 4 children, 2 of whom I have covered in previous videos. Their firstborn, Godwyn the Golden. Then came the Omen twins, Morgott and Mo. And then, finally, their lastborn, and arguably the runt of the litter, Godric. Being born of Queen Marika and Godfrey, they were all demigods and played their part within the Golden Order. It is at this point that things get fuzzy, with a new character joining the lands between, Radagon. It is unclear exactly where Radagon came from, but there are some theories. The best theory, in my personal opinion, is that he was born of the Elden Ring itself. Allow me to explain. When looking at the Elden Ring, one can obviously see all the great runes that you can find in-game. Putting them all together even looks like the Elden Ring, with them all lining up and fitting together. Taking a closer look at the background, one can see a crisscross pattern joining all the runes together. It is believed that this is the Great Rune of Order. When also looking at the many statues of Radagon throughout the lands between, the same pattern is seen behind him. This can be seen as him having the Rune of Order. It is my belief that Radagon was born of the Elden Ring after Queen Marika removed the Rune of Death, as a way of maintaining order within the lands between, now that death was no longer part of it. This makes him a part of Marika, as she is the physical vessel for the Elden Ring. With Radagon's background aside, he goes on to fight for Queen Marika in her various wars. This included her campaign against the Fire Giants, who worshipped their fell god, heresy in the eyes of the Golden Order. At some point during the conflict, the Fire Giants cursed Radagon, giving him his signature red hair. This event is speculated in the description of the Giant's Braid weapon. Every giant is red of hair, and Radagon was said to have despised his own red locks. Perhaps this was a curse of their kind. During another one of their wars, Radagon fell in love with Queen Rennala of the Carian Royal Line. This event is memorialized at the Sword Monument near the Church of Vows. The Second Lyrian War. No victory for the Golden, nor for the Moon. No prize but atonement, the birth of a vow. It is at this church that Radagon and Rennala were married, and the houses of the Erd Tree and the Moon joined. As a result of this marriage, Radagon and Rennala made 3 children, General Radahn, Praetor Rykard, and Lunar Princess Ranni. Radahn became a master of gravitational sorcery. Praetor Rykard founded his Volcano Manor, and Ranni was a princess to the Carian royal house. After all of Queen Marika's wars were fought, she banished Godfrey and his armies from the lands between, making them the first of the Tarnished. With Godfrey banished and the throne open, Radagon left Rennala and became the second Elden Lord. Now King Consort Radagon and Marika would have 2 children. This is where events once again get weird. Radagon is made from Marika, him being born from the Elden Ring, and her being the embodiment of the Elden Ring. As one would assume, this means that Marika, quote-unquote, did the dirty with herself. This leads to the children, twins, to be born cursed. Mikola with eternal youth, and Melania with the scarlet rot. This makes sense, as most incestuous conceptions result in poor genetics. There later came the war on the ancient dragons, but that was resolved and gave rise to the dragon cult within the Golden Order. Once again peace returned, but not for long. Through some conflict after the Night of the Black Knives, during which Marika's firstborn, Godwin the Golden, was slain, Marika was driven to the brink and shattered the Elden Ring. As seen in the introductory cutscene, though it is easily missed, after Queen Marika began to break the Elden Ring, Radagon attempted to repair it. But this was not to be, and while he did manage to fix it somewhat, he lacked the skill to finish the job, and it broke into large pieces. This would become the great runes that the demigods scrambled to collect. For this great crime, Queen Marika was shackled within the Erd Tree by the Greater Will. The Greater Will did not kill her, though, as she was still a god and the vessel for its will. This is explained by Ina, the finger reader that resides within Round Table Hold.
Queen Marika is the vessel of the Elden Ring, carrier of its vision, a god in truth. But after the Elden Ring's shattering, she was imprisoned in the Erd Tree, a grim punishment for shattering the Order, despite her godhood. The fingers speak.
Marika's trespass demanded a heavy sentence. But even in shackles, she remains a god and the vision's vessel.
This is why at the conclusion of the game, the player repairs Marika, who can be seen fractured with the Elden Ring within her. If the player has a mending rune, they can add it to the Elden Ring and begin a new age. If the player has no rune or just repairs the Elden Ring without one, they get the base ending.
An age of fracture.
What did you think of Queen Marika's story? Do you think she got what she deserved? Let us know by leaving a comment down below. While you're here, why not check out the other segments on Goofing Off? I've been Jonathan Kreitch, and thank you for tuning into the Lore Story.